This week, I'm going to talk a little bit about Brett Favre and Donovan McNabb. I'm also going to, of course, address the Pujols situation in Major League Baseball. And I'm going to talk about the Packers, their possible 16-0 season, and whether they should pull in Indianapolis and rest their starters. Plus, we're coming up on bowl season. You all saw we talked about the BCS last week. This week I'm bringing T-Money back in, who is legally your daddy in 28 states, so that we can talk about our bowl predictions. I am the Trubl Zone. Good morning on the West Coast. Good afternoon on the East Coast, and right here in the heart of the Midwest, you're in the Red Zone. Welcome to the Red Zone. I've got a great Saturday show for you this week. No high-low. We are jam-packed with NFL, MLB, NBA, and BCS goodness. Wow, I cannot believe I said NBA and goodness in the same sentence. All right. First of all, Brett Favre and Donovan McNabb. A lot of people are talking. A lot of people are rumoring. Some teams are looking at these guys. Look, it's week 14. Take your licks and deal with it for the end of the season. You do not want to bring in one of these two has-beens. McNabb, for example, kicked out of Washington, kicked out of Philly before that, now kicked out of Minnesota. If that does not tell you the dude is washed up and has nothing left in the tank, you have 0.0 gray matter in your skull. Figure it out. Brett Favre, the dude is the biggest drama queen on the planet. Not only did he cause a coach to get fired last year, deservedly, I admit, but the Vikings looked like crap last year. We're talking about two failed Vikings quarterbacks in a row. Leave them at home. Leave them at home. Leave them at home. Plain and simple. Moving on. Albert Pujols. It was a whole whirlwind going on at the winter meetings this week. Was Albert Pujols going to go to the newly rebranded Miami Marlins with the most horrible color scheme on any uniform I've ever seen? It makes you want to vomit. It literally, it looks like a Miami Dolphins jersey vomited and out came the Miami Marlins jersey. Or was he going to go back to St. Louis? Well, everybody had it wrong. He didn't go to Miami. He didn't go to St. Louis. Where did he go? He went straight to the Anaheim Angels. I'm not going to go with the whole, where of Anaheim. No. Jay Rich is a native of that region of California. I'm not going to invoke his wrath by using those two letters and then of Anaheim. They're the Anaheim Angels. He's an Angels fan. That's what he calls them, and that's what I'm sticking with. Not only did they pick up Albert Pujols, they picked up C.J. Wilson. In one day, the Anaheim Angels spent $325 million on two people, giving Albert Pujols a $254 million 10-year, no-trade clause contract. Wow. As a Cardinal fan, am I angry at Albert Pujols? No. Because I look at the big picture. For what we would have had to pay Albert Pujols in St. Louis, we can afford 6 guys. We've still got the Big Puma. We've still got David Freese. We've still got John Jay. We've still got Matt Holliday. We've still got Adam Wainwright. We've still got Chris Carpenter. Okay? Plain simple. Oh, yeah, and there was this young man by the name of Alan Craig who hit his fair share of jacks in the World Series 2 to put away the Rangers. I think the Anaheim Angels made a really bad business decision here. After another 3, 4, 5 years, they're going to be paying top dollar for a designated hitter. Let's talk a little bit about the Green Bay Packers. A lot of people are talking. Should the Packers rest their starters? I don't think the Green Bay Packers are as pansy as the Indianapolis Colts were. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to pull their starters. I think you're going to see Aaron Rodgers on the field all 16 games. I think you're going to see his entire offense on the field all 16 games. Now, if they get way ahead, is it possible to put in the second string? Yes. But the starters will start. That's my feeling. That's the way I want to see it happen. I want to if they're gonna go 16-0, let them go 16-0. Don't pull some we're gonna save them for the playoffs BS. When we come back, I'm gonna welcome in, as I said before, the man who is legally your daddy in 28 states, T Money. We're gonna talk BCS bowl predictions. We're talking only the good ones, not the waste of space ones that pop up that every corporation seems to think they need to have one. And we're going to talk about the Alabama LSU controversy. We'll be right back. We're back. Now it's time. Bring in the man, T Money, and we're going to talk some bowl predictions. He is our NCAA guru. First bowl up is the Advocare V100 Independence Bowl on January 26th. That's going to pit the Missouri Tigers at 7-5 against North Carolina, also 7-5.
Mizzou's making a statement this year. They're going to the SEC next year, and
they sure made a statement all over Texas's face.
If they can make a statement on Texas, North Carolina, you're out of there. Well, big win for Mizzou.
That's 2 for Mizzou right there. Capital One Bowl, January 2nd. We got Nebraska and South Carolina. Nebraska's 9-3. South Carolina's 10-2.
South Carolina's strong. I think it's going to be another big statement.
No, it's an SEC East team versus a Big Ten team. Well, we know who always wins there.
Nebraska has a storied history, but you're not going to handle South Carolina this year. It ain't going to happen.
No. TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl, also on January 2nd. You got the Florida Gators, of course, 6-6, versus Ohio State, who is also 6-6 in a much weaker conference.
Oh, Ohio State. You're my favorite team. Ohio State against Florida. Well, even though Florida is I'm not going to say mediocre, but in a rebuilding stage this year, they are not their normal self. It doesn't matter. SEC, baby, all the way. And, Ohio State, who your daddy is.
Yep. Then we move on to the Rose Bowl presented by Vizio, also on January 2nd. Oregon at 11-2 versus Wisconsin at 11-2.
Wisconsin is tough. This is going to be a real good game. But Oregon, boy, I know 11-2, but I think they're almost top tier. I could almost see them in the BCS championship this year. I'm going Oregon.
Yeah, I'm going Wisconsin. I'm looking for Wisconsin to make the upset, just because we can't agree on every single one of them. Then we move on to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, another staple of bowl periods of time. January 2nd, Oklahoma State, who a lot of people say should be in the national title picture, at 11-1 versus Stanford at 11-1.
Like I said last week when we talked, Oklahoma State, in my opinion, should be playing for the championship. And I'm not saying they're better than Alabama, but we won't get back into that. But the whole Alabama didn't win their division thing or their conference thing. I think that Alabama's probably going to put up a tougher fight against LSU than Oklahoma State would. Mm-hmm. But that's going to be a good game. I'm going to Oklahoma State, though.
I'm going Stanford because of the fact that their quarterback's got to make a major statement before the draft.
Yeah. That's going to be a close game right there.
It is. All-State Sugar Bowl on January 3rd. We got Michigan of the Big Ten at 10-2 against Virginia Tech at 11-2. Va-Tech's no joke.
No, and I think their 2 losses were both to Clemson, right? If I'm not mistaken.
So, yes.
And no, Virginia Tech's going to slaughter Michigan, in my opinion.
Yeah, as much as a buddy of mine hates to hear that, although he's more of a Michigan State fan than he is a Michigan fan. Discover Orange Bowl on January 4th. What are we supposed to discover at the Orange Bowl? Who knows? Clemson at 10-3 versus West Virginia at 9-3.
Clemson.
Yeah.
They're tough. Clemson.
We're going to take Clemson. AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic, January 6th. SEC versus Big 12. We got Arkansas at 10-2 versus Kansas State at 10-2.
And
this is going to be good.
Yeah, it is. I've been rooting for Kansas State this year, and I don't even follow Big 12 that much, but they're tough and they're good, but they're not going to do it Arkansas.
Yeah. And as a Missourian, I can't root for any Kansas team, period. All-State BCS National Championship game on January 9th. You got the Alabama Crimson Tide at 11-1 versus the LSU Tigers at 13-0. It is awfully hard to beat a team twice.
It is, and Alabama is top of the tier. They are as tough as it gets. It is. It's hard to beat someone twice, but I think LSU is that good this year. And my earlier prediction at the beginning of the year when I said they'd go undefeated all the way and win the BCS, and I meant that. And I even meant it last week when I threw in the little, I'm sorry, as a Georgia fan, I said Georgia's going to beat them by a touchdown. And the way it was looking at halftime, I was going to be
you were
right.
close.
But in the second half,
Georgia
reality check to me, I realized, and Georgia did fall asleep. I almost thought they threw the game the way they played.
Yeah.
But, reality check, LSU is that good. They're just awesome. And so is Alabama, but I think it's going to be LSU again.
I'm actually going to go with Alabama just because the old adage, it's hard to beat a team twice in the same season.
It is. That's my only thing holding me back.
Especially in the NCAA. My big prediction, my Missouri State Bears will not be in a bowl game. And I think I just got that one right. Now, the big thing here lately has been, and all the talking heads are discussing it, and the four-letter network, the Everything Tebow Production Network, False Sports, they're all talking about Bama versus LSU. And the fact that it's caused a huge controversy. There's multiple athletic directors meeting now wanting a playoff system because the BCS doesn't work, and we go through this every single season. Now, my take on this is simple. If it were LSU versus USC, somebody in the Big Ten would be complaining. If it was LSU and Ohio State, somebody in the Big 12 or the Pac-12 would be complaining. If it was Oklahoma State and LSU, somebody in the Big 10 or the Pac-12 would be complaining. Everybody's going to complain no matter what. The BCS game and the BCS rankings are what's supposed to give us the best team, putting the strength of schedule against win-loss record at all times. Now, it's not a perfect system. No, but not by any means. And if you think that Oklahoma State should be in there, or Virginia Tech should be in there, or Boise State should be in there instead of Alabama, that's your right. But the BCS rankings and the BCS system says that Alabama is the best matchup for LSU. I'm not in a position to debate that. I am going to have to sit down and really consider how a playoff system could even possibly work in NCAA football. I don't see where it can, but that's just my take. T-Money.
I do want a playoff system, and I think it would have to be something along the lines of what college basketball, you'd have to take whatever ranking, the top 8, I've heard everything, the top 20, the top whatever. You'd have to take so many teams from the ranking and then make the playoff system with that. And maybe your number 1 and 2 team gets the bye, or you'd have to work something in like that. And I do want a playoff system. But based on the system that we have right now, you are correct. It is supposed to put the number 1 and number 2 team in the nation against each other. And yes, I agree it is messed up when number 1 and number 2 are in the same division, in the same conference. And that's what we got this year.
Well, I mean, it had to. Number 1, number 2 would have had to come from the Big 12 or the SEC. Big 10 can't put anything decent out.
No.
Pac-12, give me a break.
No.
People could say UCLA or Stanford as much as they want, but if they try to go up against LSU, well, let's even go with the losers of the SEC championship game. The Georgia Bulldogs would eat UCLA for lunch. They would eat not Clemson, but Stanford for lunch. Yeah,
and all you Boise State fans, I would like to see what it would be like if Boise State would have played Georgia at the end of the season when they were hot, not at the beginning of the season when they had their head up somewhere for the first 2 games.
Well, just wait. At some point, Boise State actually has to join a real conference. You got to think.
And then reality check time.
Yeah.
Every week having to play a hard game.
Maybe they'll join the Big 12. That way, Kansas and Kansas State can slap them around like a monkey all year. But those are our takes on this whole thing. When we come back, I'm going to give you my picks and my 4th and goal. We'll be right back. this week's picks for the NFL, because we already did the bowl picks, I'm taking the Bucks over the Jags. Look, the Jags are rebuilding. I say this every week, but it's not there yet. Taking the Texans over the Bungles. Texans are still red hot. Taking the Jets over the Chiefs. Chiefs surprised me. Chiefs definitely surprised the Chicago Bears last week. I don't see them surprising me against the Jets. Lions over the Vikings. Pretty much an easy pick there. Taking the Ravens over the Dolts. That's a lock. Taking the Fish over the Eagles for my upset pick this week. I don't really think it's an upset the way Miami's been playing, but you get the point. Taking the Saints over the Titans. It's going to be a competitive game, but we're talking about the freaking Saints. I'm also talking about, let's see, I'm taking the Falcons over the Panthers. I think the Falcons can hopefully, I'm only taking the Falcons by a field goal, to be honest, because for some reason the Panthers are starting to find some kind of magic. I'm taking the Pats over the Skins. That's another lock. Shanahan probably should be on the hook to be fired if his team performs this badly next year. Taking the Bears over the Broncos. Bears are going to be really pissed off after last week losing to the Chiefs. Their defense is going to come out there, and Urlacher is going to eat Tebow for lunch. Taking the 49ers over the Desert Rats. Easy. Although the Desert Rats did come out of nowhere and really surprise me. Oh, wait, no, they didn't. They played like they normally do. Jason Garrett just screwed up and iced his own kicker. And let's see. We're going to take the Chargers over the Bills. I think the Bills have been figured out. I really do. I think that even San Diego, as horribly as they're coached, that's going to be probably an easy win for the Chargers. Taking the Packers over the Raiders. If the Packers don't pull their starters, they're going 16-0. Giants over the Whack Boys. Look, after how badly Jason Garrett screwed up last week, I look for him to screw up again. He's turning into a Norv Turner, Todd Haley, so I think I'm going to start calling him Jason Turnaley instead of Jason Garrett. Sea Chickens over the Rams on Monday Night Football. Both teams are so bad. Oh my God, are they bad. But I think the Sea Chickens suck that much less. And on Thursday Night Football, I'm going to take the Falcons over the Jaguars. That's going to be another good win for the Falcons in probably the most competitive division in all of the NFL. When I come back, it'll be time for my 4th and goal. And this time, I'm talking about something you never hear me talk about on the Red Zone. We'll be right back. This week's 4th and goal. You never hear me talk about this sport on the air. And no, I'm not talking about Major League Soccer, because you know I talk about it. I talk about it a lot every time I mention Capri Sun and orange slices. I'm talking about soccer on hardwood. The only other sport where professional athletes will throw themselves to the ground at the slightest touch. That's right, we're talking about the NBA. Look, the NBA, on the day that Albert Pujols signed, tried to take center stage. A lot of big signings, and then the commissioner blocks the trade, yada, yada, yada. Look, I don't care about the block trade. I don't care about their lockout. I don't care about their CBA. I don't care about the big three. I don't care about the Lakers or anything NBA. The NBA is a joke to me. It has been turned into a joke continuously over the years since Michael Jordan and the three-peat Bulls were a memory. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, I don't care about any of them. I think it's a joke sport. Now, does the pigeon toe cover basketball? At some point, we will probably bring in a basketball analyst once I find one that I can deal with, or one that even wants to do the job. But for now, my take on basketball, who cares? The only thing that basketball gives me right now is a good comparison between Albert Pujols and LeBron James. LeBron James left Cleveland for Miami, and if you discount the whole decision thing, he took less money to go be with a team that he thought he could win a championship with. Cleveland wouldn't give him the backup to win a championship. I will defend LeBron James till I'm blue in the face about that. Here's the difference. Everybody called him a heel. Everybody ripped on LeBron. Even me. Albert Pujols takes a crap ton of money to go to the Anaheim Angels. so that they can build a team around him to win a championship. Well, in the 4th and goal, I like to give you something to think about. Who's the heel now, folks? That's it for us this week. For myself, T-Money, and the other guys at the New Pigeon Toe, my little brother who'll be coming in covering Major League Baseball, our MLS analyst, Jay Rich. I am the Trubl Zone. I'm even thinking about that now. I'm even thinking about who really is the heel. And now that I've said that twice and buried it in your head, zone out.